Welcome back to the Irish Mags Show. It is episode 98. We are getting old, lads, but we are still here and we are still strong as ever together, said no one ever. Well, my name is Paul. I'll be your host for this week. And joining me, it is, of course, the dynamic duo, the Malik Tia and Sven Botman pairing/relationship of the Irish Mags group, although probably not as new, as fresh, as tall, and as powerful. It is, of course, Alan and Krisho. Welcome back, lads.
How are we?
I don't know which one's which here.
Hi. Al's a bit of a Rolls Royce, let's be honest. Do you know what I mean? So he'd be the Batman. I'm kind of the rogue that's come in that everyone was kind of doubting and stuff, and that's turned up and really shown what he can do. Really shown and got stuck in and shown what he can do.
As everybody knows, self-praise is the best praise.
It's the only praise. It's the only praise that everybody knows it. Look at guys, it's great to be back. You did a great show last week. I loved it. I love the way you kind of talk about me when I'm not here. I love it. It's like I tune in and I'm like, they're gonna slag me off. Brilliant. Okay, brilliant. But wasn't for that long. So thanks for that. It was only for like half a minute.
We don't want you to think you're important. We don't want to keep you. Yeah.
God, Jesus Christ, that's all you'd need is for me to think I'm important. Good Lord.
I mean, speaking of lads who think they're important, we do need to give a special shout out and a mention here, lads. We've talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the pod in and around the Arsenal talk. So, as everybody knows, this here is the Irish Mags, which is a Newcastle United podcast, and it emerges that our Arsenal listenership seems to be growing. Not only did these lads, who, as you know, are friends of mine, friends being quote unquote so-called, not only did they have the audacity to show up in the bleaker late for that Arsenal match and then obviously sing when they're winning when the late goals went in, it would emerge, lads, that, you know, we've got quite a loyal and strong listenership here across YouTube and Spotify and Apple and the like, hundreds of listeners every week. But for some reason, lads, every Friday, the first messages I get, if the pod isn't out, I get these Arsenal lads in the group going, when's the pod out? And if the pod is out, they're commenting on what we've talked about. So shout out to the Arsenal lads, the first ones hanging on their podcast feed, waiting for
our biggest fans.
Biggest fans.
Yeah, not to give away exact addresses, of course, but these guys are from the West, right? They're from Galway, are they?
There's a mix, like one of them lives in Galway, he's from Donegal. Another chap is from Carlow. Was living in Dublin. I'm sure he lives now. Another chap from Meath, I think. I don't know. Like, I mean, clearly the Arsenal podcast content is so shit. Or they've just you know, they know quality when they see it. Well, not like many Arsenal folks.
Here's the shout out to them, right? When we play Arsenal at their crappy stadium, meet in Athlone for the game. Everyone comes central to Ireland and we'll meet like a standoff. We'll meet.
It's a bit like that scene in Anchorman where the news stations are all meeting in the car park.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Krisho's going to show up on a horse and Alan be throwing a trident across the
Krisho killed a man.
It jumped up a notch.
I'll be sitting there with my whiskey, be like, boy, that escalated quickly.
Well, look, that's the shout out to them. So if they'd love to meet us in person, I could sign some autographs for them. No problem. We can meet up for the Arsenal match. No problem whatsoever.
I don't know, Krisho. They say you should never meet your heroes. I just don't know if they're ready for it. But we'll suss them out over the coming weeks, and we welcome them listening in and watching our beloved Irish Wags podcast. And we're okay with having them here, mainly on sympathy. We're very generous. Yeah. Every now and again, they think they can get clever with a funny meme about Alan, but no, we know who's living rent free in whose heads. Don't we, lads? We do indeed. The Irish Mag Show is proudly sponsored by the Half Volley, providers of high quality, customizable clothing and merchandise catering for all sports teams, businesses, social clubs, and events. With access to thousands of product types available with immediate delivery on the majority of all products, depending on location. Run by our own Scott Fitzpatrick from the Irish Mags community, the Half Volley are the official partner for all Irish Mags merchandise, and their new range has already been showcased at multiple meetups and games throughout the season so far. Irish Mags Show listeners can now avail of an exclusive member discount. Use code IrishMagsShow, all capital letters, at checkout. For any queries, email scott@thehalfvolley.com, follow @the_halfvolley on Instagram, or visit thehalfvolley.com for more information. Speaking of London-based teams, we have to play a London-based team on the day this podcast comes out. We will be playing Spurs in the Carabao Cup, last 16, defending our trophy, boys, for a place in the quarterfinal once more. Interesting things happening in that even tonight as we record on the Tuesday night. Some of those games in the last 16 are underway. So we're going to be doing a little preview for that, getting ourselves hyped up for hopefully another good cup run. Before we get there, I think we're going to have a little chat about that result at the weekend against Fulham, because I don't know about you lads. I'd gotten to the point where late goals in my football watching life are just seemingly against us all the time. We just mentioned Arsenal. We had Liverpool. We had Brighton, all like conceding late, kicking the balls, kicking the teeth, frustrating. Finally, the shoe went on the other foot at the weekend against Fulham. And I think we'll just have a chat about, like, could we expect to see more of that? If we're not playing that well, will that give a big confidence boost? We had it in the past, I think, on occasion. But I just hadn't seen it for a while. So let's chat about that. And lads, because we're all great friends and our friendship is bonding even stronger due to Arsenal fan idiocy, I'm going to put a little quiz on the table for you as we often do to round things off. This is going to be a double podcast week because next week, drum roll, we will be celebrating episode 100 of the Irish Mags Show, which we're hoping to go live with. So keep your eyes and ears peeled on our WhatsApp groups, on our socials for when that will be live, because we have a very special guest joining us for episode 100. And I'll give you a clue. It's somebody who hasn't been on the podcast before, which means it's not Chris Show.
Oh,
there we go.
Thank God.
What?
Yeah, you're a guest, but you're a guest, but you're not special. Actually, no, you're special, but you're not a guest. I don't know. There's something to be said there.
Guest who's very special.
Very special indeed, and it's not Miguel Almiron either. Right. Let's crack on, Alan, and talk about that Fulham result. And again, as I said, you know, it echoes what we spoke about last week in terms of the difference between our league performances and our cup performances. We had a stormer against Benfica, cracking result. And then we all came into Fulham, and I was fully expecting us to really just kind of play with confidence, a bit of swag, that goal scoring, chance creation back, kind of a little bit of creating that form in the league. It just didn't really transpire that way. But thankfully, we had enough in the tank to actually get the win over the line. What were your thoughts overall, particularly when we went 1-0 up, obviously, early? Did you think we were going to run away with it?
I did. When we went 1-0 up, I was like, look, Grant, this will be comfortable. It'll be 3, it'll be 4. It didn't coincide with that. Look, we were the better side on the day. If you look at the match in the 90 minutes, the better team on the day won the game, and that's all we can ask for because we were the better side. It's the same things again. It's just not clicking at the right time for us. It's always the final ball seems to be letting us down, and we make an awful lot of silly mistakes when it comes to going forward, and we're still not getting 100% of the best out of Nick Valtamade. He didn't have the best of games for us. He should have scored. He hit the post, I think, wasn't it? From the corner. He should have done a little bit better, but I'd rather see him missing the odd chance than scoring every single chance he gets, because then when he goes on a bit of a barren run, people will absolutely be piling on him. So I don't mind him missing the odd chance here and there. And with Johan Wissa looking like he's coming back, this is only going to be a good thing. It'll be a little bit of a rocket up his arse to go. You have to keep yourself in this form and keep yourself trying. But yeah, I'm just on the game as a whole. The better side won. We'd more chances. We'd more big chances. We'd more chances missed. I hate XG, but we'd a better XG than them. We had absolutely everything. And it's amazing to say that we've gone out and spent £55 million on a right winger that's meant to be an upgrade. And our man of the match is still Jacob Murphy.
Yeah.
He is just been outstanding, and credit where credit is due. He was the best player on the pitch for us, and he won us that game.
Yeah, and Chris, like, I came away from the game a bit disappointed because it was just so narrow and we let them back in the game. But not that long ago, you know, when we were losing games, I was taking a lot of solace in the fact that we lost to Arsenal by a goal. Let's say we lost to Liverpool by a goal. We lost to Barcelona by a goal. And I was like, okay, well, at least we are in these games. We're not getting hammered. It's very narrow margins. Things can go either way. And if we flip it to the Fulham game, similar kind of vibe. There's a lot of, you know, the Valtamade chance. Jacob Murphy should have scored twice, if not 3 times. Bruno had a golden kind of a header opportunity before he scored. So I find, if any of those moments, even one of them goes in, then we're suddenly 2-0 and a lot more comfortable. So it's almost like there's still that little narrative of fine margins that we're just not getting the little bit of luck. Because on another day, Murphy should have scored that second goal in particular.
Yeah.
I think the one he scored was probably harder than the one he missed. But again, should we be disappointed, or is it a case of, look, we're getting closer? Instead of fine margins and losing games, it's fine margins and narrowly winning games.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We are getting the look. The difference is, and Mourinho said it, is that Newcastle have game changers. They have quality on the bench now. We have people to bring on that you think you can genuinely believe, even before they get onto the pitch, that they're going to make an impact. And that's what happened again with Fulham. Things went a little bit awry. We didn't take our chances, and I was thinking, oh my God, here we go again. It's another game where we don't take our chances, and they steal a 2-1 like they did last year, and like other teams have done already this year. So I thought, oh no, this is going to be the same again. I can't believe this, because we have to start taking our chances. Bruno's header miss, I couldn't believe it. He was in such a perfect spot. It's like as if he closed his eyes, just caught the wrong side of his head. But look, we had everything laid out exactly as it should for, I don't know, 25 minutes of the game, and then everything just flipped on itself. And I thought, hang on, what has happened there? It's like as if we just kind of, like, Voltemade was basically getting sexually assaulted, every time the ball went up to him. He was getting thrown all over the place. I couldn't, what's that guy's name? Bassi, is it?
Yeah,
he looks like a rugby player as well. It was Diop and Bassi.
Diop did not let go of Voltemada's shirt for the first 40 minutes of the game. I actually seen a stat today that Peter Banks has been involved in 4 of our games this year and has awarded 1 free kick to Nick Voltemade.
What?
Yeah. He should have awarded 6 on Saturday. Like, it was mental.
It was crazy, and it broke up the game a lot. But there was mistakes. There was tiredness. Look, I'm super worried about Bruno. I've got it here mentioned and circled. I'm worried about Bruno. I know he's got some engine on him, but my God, like, the amount of games and the amount of times he pulls it out for us, just dragging the team back. He did it again. Perfect example of it. Where was he? Like 90 minutes, standing 4 yards outside, in the box, ready to pounce. But Tonali was there with him, wasn't it? That was Tonali beside him, wasn't it? So it would have been one or the other anyway, right? But that just shows the will and desire that these guys have, which is all the positives here, guys. All the positives. Last year, maybe at the start of this year, we would have lost that game, or we would have drawn it, and it would have been very disappointing. And they would have talked about fatigue. They would have talked about post-Champions League matches. We haven't got the squad. But we do. We do now. If we add 1 or 2 people, either in January or in the summer, we have a quality squad all the way through, that at any moment Eddie Howe can flick and switch it and play one team for this cup and play one team for this competition. And we should be really excited about that, because I'm going to be honest with you, just like Nottingham Forest, we didn't play particularly well in that game either. We won 2-0. We didn't play particularly well in this. Okay, we had a couple of chances, but we didn't play particularly well, and we still won. So it's all positive for me, Paul. All positive all around. I'm very, very relieved that we scored that 90th-minute goal. And shout out to Willisula. He's pure chaos. I said it on the group. Enter chaos. This is what this guy is. He's chaos. He's like Willock. Willock is a Bambi that slips on ice. Asula's learning to skate. Yeah, he's learning to skate. He drifted up the pitch there in a blur. I mean, I don't even think the crowd noticed him doing it. He's a genius. I love the guy. Let's hope we keep him.
Yeah, like on the Bruno thing, it's actually incredible because, like, Bruno, there's been moments, and obviously, Alan, you were a big advocate of, like, Tonali obviously surpassing Bruno, and there has been so many moments where Tonali has been more important. He's shown more quality, more world class, etc. And then Bruno just pops back with these huge performances and reminds us all why he's captain of this team, how much he fucking loves Newcastle United, and how good a player he is. Like what he offers Newcastle that isn't goals or assists, like the pressure off the ball, the winning the fouls, the taking the hits. Like when he gets the ball and there's nobody on, he has that innate ability to win a foul by just bending over and taking, basically getting smashed in his arse, like, for want of a better phrase. And
there has to be a better phrase. There has to be a better
phrase, but it's too late now. It's late in the evening. And then you can see what I love about it is like he takes the foul, he takes the hit, he goes down over the ball, he wins the foul, and he's up as quick as lightning, looking for who's on.
Yeah.
And you just you'd like to think that the lads around him are actually actively playing this. Gordon should be like, I'm gone as soon as he's down before the whistle even goes, because the second he's up, he's looking to play the ball. And again, yeah, like I said, it's just a reminder of how lucky we are to have Bruno. What unbelievable value he was when we signed him. What, 30 million, 35 million?
35 million pound.
Wow.
Like,
we're triple that now.
He literally is, you know what I mean? And I mean, if he was a couple of years younger, I think there'd be even more like pundits, media going on and on about this guy, because he has got better with age.
If he had pace, he would be the best midfielder on the planet. And that's not even being not being a Newcastle fan. He does absolutely everything. But if he was a bit quicker, he would be the best midfielder on the planet. But I think if he was a bit quicker, he would get injured an awful lot more, because I don't want to say he looks like he's running a treacle or quicksand or anything like that, but he doesn't blur around the pitch. Like Tonali is rapid, and you can see that he's rapid. But if the two of them are running, Bruno can't even nearly catch up with him at all. Like that's why I don't think you'll see Bruno getting as injured as often, or won't have the muscle injuries that other midfielders will get. And that, although it's a negative in a sense, is also a positive, because you're going, he's capable of playing 55 games a year, because he's not going to get a little niggly hamstring or a little niggly thigh strain. Whereas Tonali might come up with an L calf strain or something here or there. Just look at Joe Willock. Joe Willock is a very, very quick midfielder. But if the wind blows in the wrong direction, he'll pull his hamstring.
Yeah.
I think the flip side as well, because even though he's not super quick, I mean, he's not slow, but how many seasons in a row he's regularly tops the Premier League distance covered charts. And I remember, I want to say it was Paul Merson, because I hate Paul Merson. I can't remember which pundit it was, but somebody was quoted about, if it wasn't last season before, saying like he can't run, or doesn't run quick enough or whatever. And like there was a clip of Bruno actually at full sprint catching someone making a tackle, and Bruno's like, who says I can't run? Never mind the fact of how much distance he covers. And that shows fitness, that shows energy, that shows desire. And they're sometimes they're qualities you can't train a player to do or have. You can't force a player to just have that innate fire in the belly to keep that going for 96 minutes or whatever the hell it is. So yeah, again, it's just like, shout out to Bruno for just reminding everyone how good he is.
Have a look at Bruno when he arrived from Lyon. Sat on the bench for 6 games, watching, learning, coming on for a couple of substitute appearances, right? Bit slow, bit lumbering, but stylish, real good feet. Impressive the way he kind of commanded the centre of midfield. You thought, oh, this guy's a right little player, isn't he? And now look at him. He is Mr. Newcastle. He is sleek and athletic and lean. He looks completely different physically than he was when he first arrived 2.5, 3 odd years ago than he is now. If you looked at him on Saturday, when he scored the goal and slid and stood up, this guy is a different beast physically than he was when he arrived. He has been trained within an inch of his existence to being like the best athlete that he could possibly be at his age. And it's just unbelievably impressive. And talk about luck, like you were saying, Paul. Talk about luck to have this guy in this form as the captain of our football club, who clearly loves the area, who clearly loves being in Newcastle. Frankly, I don't think he'd leave us for anybody. Maybe he might leave us for Real Madrid or Barcelona, but I don't think so. I mean, I really don't think so. But just it was just to have Tonali and Bruno, and hopefully Ramsey starts to get a few more games. I think that would be one of the best trios. I'm not throwing Joelinton out, of course. I'm just saying, like you said, Al, last week and the week before, Joelinton might be replaceable, as it were. Look at Paul. Can we move on to what the big question is here that I've been giving out about for 3 weeks, which is how terrible Gordon is, and he only turns up in European games. I think Barnes and Murphy should start going forward for the next 3 or 4 games. I think the lads need to sit in their hole and think about what they're doing with their career, because Gordon was absolutely dog shit the other day. Dog shit. He doesn't have a left peg. He can't turn in on his right because everybody knows he's going to do that, and he's not doing it quick enough. And he's dancing about, Claire balding, fixing his hair, doing nothing. And again, Elanga, I don't know where Elanga fits in. Eddie Howe's going to maybe have to coach him for 5 or 6 months and get him used to the way we need him to play, a little bit different. But Murphy and Barnes should start tomorrow night, and they should start at the weekend.
Wrong. Gordon created 2 big chances for Newcastle United against Fulham. He crossed the ball 5 times. 3 of them found their men. I actually do not understand what you're watching when it comes to Anthony Gordon. I'm just going to read out stats to you here. So his expected assists was 0.42. His key passes in the game was 2. His big chances created was 2. He had 18 of 20 accurate passes. He had 4 of 8 accurate crosses. He had passes in own half, 8 of 8. He had passes in opposition box, 11 of 13. He had 2 of 2 accurate long balls. He was our 3rd best player on the pitch according to the stats.
Look at stats schmats, all right? Essentially, 3rd best player on the pitch. Give me a break. The guy is supposed to be some kind of superstar for us. He's not performing to a level that's acceptable, that he should be a starter within the team. In the Champions League, fair enough. He's Mr. Champions League. He's turning in good performances. But the rest of the time, he's not, I wouldn't say non-existent. He's just not playing as expected, or as I would think that we would get the production level from him for assists and goals. He isn't, since that little spell he had for 6 months where he scored some goals and got some assists, he hasn't done it since then.
Where to start?
Hang on.
There's a couple of valid points, right? In terms of like, if we're looking at the last 10 games, 12 games, and that's the red card, blah, 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 that the form is probably a little bit spiky, right? We're still in October, technically. We're only, 10, 12% into the season properly so far when you think about how many games we have left. And like, I'm looking at this going like, we're seeing like, I don't even want to say glimpses, but we're seeing the Anthony Gordon that we know we are capable of seeing all the time. I do think there's something to be said for, like, I was at the game, at the Benfica game, and the amount of ground he covered. He was terrorizing their left back at full sprint quite a lot of the time, but also working back to cover Dan Burn. And then he's come straight into Fulham. And like the Premier League, we've talked about this before, like the fitness level, the intensity of the Premier League, the physical nature of it, how much of the tank is required. Bruno is a freak in terms of like having those energy levels. I would question, is Gordon 100% match fit to be going, Saturday, whatever it was, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, or do you know what I mean? To have those 3 games in 7 days. And I think the solution angles to where you're going. Yes, we would like Barnes to come in and Gordon to have those breathers, because that's good for his energy levels, and also that competition is super healthy, and we've seen that before. I wouldn't be crazy harsh, because I fully expect that Anthony Gordon is going to be on the left for England at the World Cup next summer. And I think that would be off the back of a season where he hits double figures on goals and or assists.
I hope so.
And it's a big prediction, but there's so much football left. I think that those fitness levels have to come up. There's a lot, you see in the interview he did with Gary Neville about whenever it was a year ago. So much of his football output, there's so much going on in his head that it's a mix of like ego and vibes and confidence and mental strength and how he thinks. I just think he probably puts a lot more thought into it all, and things affect him more. And we even saw that with that other previous Euros where Gareth Southgate brings him to the Euros and
didn't play him.
barely even looks at him. Do you know what I mean? What, he play 4 minutes or something stupid? So all of that stuff seemed to affect him as well at the start of last season. I just think there's going to come a point where when we hit a bit of stride, because we saw it last season after, was it Brentford or Bournemouth just before Christmas? I think it was Brentford. We lose 4-2 last season. And then we went on this run of like 9 games or something crazy. I fully expect us to reach a point where we're going to go on a run and our form will stay a bit consistent, and he'll actually shoot off even more from there when everyone is actually kicking around him. And the last point as well is it's very tough for him to do what he wants to do. He has a lot more to do without Lewis Hall behind him. He has to help and protect Dan Burn a lot more. Fair play to Dan Burn. He fucking belts up and down that left side when he thinks there's an opportunity to burst forward. Like, you see him at full stride and he's like 7 paces and he's in the second final third of the opposition half. But that's not sustainable for the whole game. And I think there's a lot less freedom for Anthony Gordon because of that. And it is what it is.
That's a massive thing because Harvey Barnes does not track back the way Anthony Gordon does. So that pipe dream, while Dan Burn is starting left back, Harvey Barnes will not be starting on the left. It just will not happen. The goal that we conceded against Liverpool in the last minute was Harvey Barnes' fault. And there was another goal where he just didn't track a man. I think it was actually the Barcelona goal, the second goal. Didn't track a man. Just literally stopped. He has been the direct cause of 2 goals already this season by not tracking back. Anthony Gordon has never done that. Anthony Gordon's like a Duracell bunny. He'll just keep going and going and going. That's why he starts.
All right.
So I think he's not like you're not wrong that there's moments where we can be critical of Gordon. And I would have been more if this conversation was about him 3 weeks or a month ago, I probably would have agreed with you. But again, super early in the season. I just think having seen him get to be fully Anthony Gordon in the Benfica game, I just think that there's a whole lot more. I said it at the very beginning, I think, of this pod as well, at the beginning of the season, that I think it's going to be a massive season for Anthony Gordon, and I still maintain that it will be. But equally, it's great that we have the likes of Barnes there looking in over his shoulder. And we might finish on this because Barnes now, obviously against Benfica and Fulham, he actually played quite well in both games. Even in the Fulham game, I thought he actually played quite well. I wasn't sure about the long sleeves, but that's just me. I'm old school. Long sleeves should be for Voltamade and Voltamade alone. I think he's the only one that should be allowed to have long sleeves. But it poses the question, and I've been thinking about this from those 2 games, and we definitely spoke about this last season at some point. Is Barnes actually just better as an impact sub? Because when he starts games, he doesn't seem to be as impactful. We saw that at the beginning of the season. When he comes on, he seems to be able to just be a bit more explosive, have that little bit more energy, catch tired fullbacks unawares, get into the goal-scoring positions. And where he is better than Anthony Gordon, undoubtedly for me, is he has that finishing ability. And that goal, like, was it the first one he scored against Benfica? That it was just a beautiful finish in off the inside of the post. Yeah. So that's the question, really, Krisho, is the guy having Barnes as an impact sub.
Well, look at the guy marking Gordon got a yellow card. Tete got a yellow card after 2 minutes, wasn't it? And I thought, sweet, Gordon's going to annihilate this fella. And he's going to do another loose tackle now in a minute. But look, I don't really give shout-outs to opposition players, but Tete played really, really well up until Barnes came on. Because
Tete should have been sent off. He stamped on John Linton. He should have been sent off.
Yeah, yeah. Like, some people might say that was just a normal John Linton tackle. But look, I'm not standing up for Fulham here. I'm just saying, as soon as Barnes came on, Tete's head was in a spin. And Marco Silva knew it. Barnes had him. It's like as if Barnes sits on the bench and he gets a good view. Here's what's being discussed with Eddie and the lads and the coaches. And he knows exactly what to do when he comes on for those 20 minutes. He knows where the gaps are. He knows who's tired. And you're right, Paul. Maybe that's the best we can get out of Harvey Barnes, is giving him that 20 minutes. Because he clearly trusts him to go on and change games. He did it against Benfica. He's done it many times before where he's pulled us out of the shit. I don't know. I just think, maybe you're right. Maybe
it's interesting because he comes on and he scores and he does things that earn him the right to start. But when he starts, he just doesn't seem to reproduce it. Mm-hmm. I'm not too sure why. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. Similarly with Elanga. I mean, you'd hate to think that Harvey Barnes was 40 million and Elanga was 50 million. We don't need 90 million worth of impact subs, but it's a nice thing to have.
It is a nice thing to have.
Because I actually thought Elanga did open things up against Fulham with his pace. And again, we talk about fine margins and moments. Elanga should have scored on his debut against Villa. He went through 1-on-1. If he scores that, I think it changes the trajectory of his early start at Newcastle. He comes on against Fulham and has a hell of a chance to score. And was it a block by one of those two centre backs?
Yeah.
Unbelievable block. So again, these are nice luxuries to have. These are nice choices for Eddie Howe to have, but it's something we're not used to, like having this strength on the bench, and it is wonderful. And Fulham, thankfully, we're on the losing end of that. Which, lads, as we record this, they are also on the losing end at halftime in their Carabao Cup last 16 fixture. They're losing away to Wycombe Wanderers. So let's just keep an eye on that. The way this draw is sizing up now, Grimsby are losing 3-0 to Brentford. Grimsby only, to be fair, they only beat poor teams like Manchester United. But there's, it would be nice to see a few Premier League teams exiting this competition. And there's quite a few playing each other. Obviously, Newcastle play Tottenham, which we're going to move on to shortly. Arsenal going to play Brighton, Liverpool, Palace, Wolves, Chelsea. So the quarterfinal could be interesting depending on how some of those
Cardiff beating Wrexham. Cardiff beating Wrexham 1-0.
Yeah, in the All Wales.
Wales derby, yeah.
Wales derby, yeah.
Yeah.
But look, just to be even more excited, let's just go for it. Let's just splurge. Yeah. Tino, like you heard Eddie Howe's press conference, Hall, Tino, and Wissa all looking like they're coming back within the next little while. Back on the grass, giving it socks. Seems like there's right good camaraderie as well when you see those TikToks and Instagram posts by the lads. They seem to have a right crack, all of them. They all seem to they're all like at a certain age where they're all kind of getting on well. And I'm thinking, do you know what? I think the good times are coming back. Not that they're not back already, but I mean like the real good times are coming.
Like, well, when you look at the Spurs fixture now, we're going to talk about it now, obviously. We'll talk about selection and rotation. But the areas you'd have concern about in terms of depth and rotation, we're struggling at right back and left back because we've Trippier, we have Dan Burn, Kraft maybe, but like hasn't played a whole lot of football because Hall and Livermento have been out. Bring them back, you feel a lot better about life. Then the biggest other concern realistically is Voltemade because he's just playing a lot of minutes and he's, obviously Asula comes on and does well, but Eddie Howe clearly doesn't really trust Asula, and rightly so, to lead the line. Bring in Wissa, and like if we've Hall, Livermento and Wissa back, and if everyone else is fit, Jason Tyndall's going to be popping open a bottle of champagne, I'd say, just to be like, full squad to choose from for a week. Like it's rare these days that it happens. And it's a good segue over to Spurs, lads, because Spurs, as it stands, are completely the opposite. They're missing quite a lot of players. Like Maddison is out, Kulusevski is out. I think Romero is out. Solanke is out. Like Dragosan was out as well. There's a good bunch of their players injured, which bodes well for us. Let's talk about the Spurs match. First question, Alan. Is there any world in which this isn't like a huge priority game for Eddie Howe in terms of we've got 7 games in 3 weeks. We're coming off the back of Benfica, then Fulham. And obviously we've got West Ham then at the weekend and then more Champions League. Is there any world in which like the selection choices might reflect I'm going to not take risks, but use this as an option?
We are the holders. We do not want to give up this trophy without a serious fight. We definitely do not want to lose a home quarterfinal or round of 16, whatever it is. It's a massive game. The question was actually asked in the Irish Mags group, and I just responded to it going, anyone who says we do not want to win this game is just wrong. We don't care what anyone says. You don't mind getting beaten in a game where you might even play well. You don't mind that. But you go into every single game saying, we want to win this. And I can guarantee you Eddie Howe will be saying, I am not giving up the first trophy I've ever won at a fairly early hurdle in the competition. Yeah. If we're going to lose, I want to lose in the semi-final or final, and I want to be devastated that we've lost it. We do not go into games going, it's not the end of the world if we don't lose here. We're absolutely not. That's a baffling mindset for anyone to have, I think.
Yeah.
And so let's say then, bearing in mind, looking at the first 11 in the last 2 games, one change from Benfica to Fulham, which was Joe Linton coming in.
Mm-hmm.
If Eddie, you picture yourself now, you're Eddie Howe, right? We've obviously got West Ham away at the weekend. Now, they are arguably one of the worst teams in the Premier League at the moment. But
don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say anything.
Well, the table and the results say it for me. I don't have to say it. But look, if Eddie Howe does make some changes, right? So let's say he makes, we saw it against, was it Bournemouth quite a few weeks back where he made like 7 changes? If we were to see that, I think we do have depth. We probably don't have enough depth now with those injuries to make 7 changes. But Chris Shaw, if you were to see 4 changes, 5 changes, would you be looking at that going, this is smart, Eddie Howe has got a plan, this is obviously game management for players, looking at the intense fixtures? Or would you look at it as, okay, well, this is slightly not as important as the Fulham game if he's obviously making changes that he didn't make against Fulham?
I've got yes, and there's going to be a number of changes, right? Ramsdale goal, Phipps right back, Shar, Shaw, Byrne, Miley, Tonali, Ramsey, Barnes, Murphy, and Voltemade. That's the team, 4-3-3, and he'll have the rest of the guys obviously as subs. The only
I'd go further.
possibly might not play Tonali, Joelinton instead of Tonali, and then bring Tonali on if we're losing.
I'd go further. I'd say Kraft will start ahead of Trips, and I think Asula will start over Voltamade.
Oof.
Yeah, I think after his cameo the other night, you kind of have to give him. And if it's not working at the 45 minutes, you hook him and you bring on Voltamade and you give Voltamade 45 minutes.
But look, have they not only just got him to this point where he's getting clapped off for 5 minutes on the pitch and Graham Jones is hugging him? We bring him on and he shits the bed. It's going to just send him back down. That he's not good enough to get on this team.
In the nicest possible way, I actually don't care. We have Wissa coming back. If he is not capable of playing 45 minutes in a cup game midweek, now he won't be capable in 6 months' time. It's sink or swim time, unfortunately, for him.
What about Barnes, Murphy, Gordon up the middle?
No. We have a fit striker. We have 2 fit strikers at the minute. You're not playing a winger up top when you have 2 fit strikers. It just doesn't make sense.
I think you're kind of like, I'm kind of like, are you both right? I think he probably starts Voltamade because he wants to he wants to lead the game early. I don't want to say win the game early. He wants to lead the game early.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he does that with a view of us trying to go ahead by a goal or 2 goals to be able to afford to take Voltamade off on 65 or 70 minutes or whatever that is. And that's for him probably considering game management. Voltamade's style in a good way is a little bit different to Isak, obviously, in terms of he's not always making bomb and runs down channels. He's not using up balls of energy. He's having physical battles. And he obviously drops deep a lot. But I think in terms of exhaustion and minutes, he's obviously getting used to the difference between leagues. But it's not like he's running like crazy. And then, on 70 minutes, he's just completely pooped. I think that gives the option to kind of just say, right, you put in your shift. Either he helps us get a goal, sets up a goal, scores a goal. That's when you bring on Asula. And again, like Barnes, Asula is a handful to come on because half the time he doesn't know what he's going to do with the ball. So if you're a defender who's been running around for 75 minutes and you're like, oh, Jesus, now I have to chase this young guy around. And he's got bandy legs and he's all elbows and limbs. And, that's what he does give you. But I agree with Alan. Like, if Eddie Howe does bring him on or start him or whatever, it is a show of, okay, it's either I'm giving you a chance or I do trust you, but he has to take those chances. Or like you said, he may never be good enough, but he's improving when you look at what he's contributed coming off the bench, particularly.
Yeah. If this wasn't against Spurs, Paul, if this wasn't against Spurs or against the Premier League team, if this was against Cardiff or if this was against Wickham or something like that, yes, then I'd say they put Asula up front. Because he should be able to get a goal or 2 against, lower level defenses. But because it's against Spurs and they are going to play pretty much a full strength team, like a Premier League game, this is what it's going to be like. They're going to have to go, with Voltamade, even if it is for the first half out, because he can't then turn up Sunday as well and do a full game. That's a lot to ask for a young lad coming in brand new to a club.
Well, the good news, Crucial, here is. I know you're saying, wouldn't it suit? Like, it would suit Asula better if we had a team from the Championship or League One or whatever. The very good news, listeners, is that we have in the last 6 games against Tottenham. No, let's go the last 5 games against Tottenham. We have won 4 out of the last 5 and scored 15 goals in 5 games. That's an average of scoring 3 per game. That includes that famous 6-1 and, of course, a 4-0 as well. So we have an outstanding record against Tottenham going back over the last... So it's 5 in the last 6. We've won the last 3 in a row, all in the Premier League because we hadn't got them in any cup up until now. And I'm just going to throw another stat at you, lads, because we love our stats here. The manager of Spurs is, of course, Thomas Frank, who was previously the manager at Brentford. If I go back and look at the last... Okay, I can go back and look at the last 8 games, Newcastle against Brentford. Newcastle have won 7 of them. So, not only have we got a very good record against Tottenham, we also have quite a good record against Thomas Frank because he was there for, if I go back 8 games, 2022, pretty sure Thomas Frank was manager of Brentford back then. So, it bodes well, is what I'm saying, that even if we have to start Asula, the numbers, Chris Show, and the numbers are obviously always right. The numbers suggest that, the form we have against Tottenham and the manager is that sure we're probably better off playing Tottenham instead of Wickham or Grimsby or Cardiff or one of these. I jest a little bit, folks. Okay, I'm not getting too carried away, but at the same time, Tottenham do not like coming to St James's Park, lads, and that's why I'm going to ask you, Alan Williamson, for your prediction for this game, Newcastle against Spurs, last 16 of the Carabao Cup.
Win on penalties.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after me telling him, Chris, that we've scored 15 goals in 5 games and we hammer them all the time and we beat the manager, he still thinks we're only going to go through on penalties.
There's no extra time.
Straight to penalties. I'll tell you why. I genuinely had a dream about this match the other day and we won on penalties. So that's why I'm going with this. It was just a weird thing that happened. So I was like, yeah, sure, we'll go with it.
Alan Williamson's dreams, everybody. Krisho, I don't want you to tell me what happens in your dreams, but I do want you to tell me your prediction for this game.
In my dreams, myself and Al are really close friends. We hang out all the time.
Yeah.
No,
Jesus
so
Christ.
what I had was 3-2 in extra time, but it doesn't go to extra time.
No,
So
straight
I'm gonna have to
pass.
go with penalties, and the 3-2 that I saw in my head earlier is actually 2-2 at full time, and we win 3-2 on penalties. There you go.
Two penalty shootout shouts.
That's just stress I don't need, lads.
Yeah.
Never mind going to penalties, but having us miss penalties and having it being very tight. I don't need that in my life at all.
We'll hold up the draw. That's how long this game's going to go on. We're going to hold up the draw.
Yeah, Jesus. My prediction, lads, is we are going through, and we are going through to what would be our 4th League Cup quarterfinal in a row, which is pretty impressive when you think about our cup form prior to Eddie Howe managing this club. I did predict on another podcast, I was also looking at Spurs in the league. They're obviously doing relatively well in terms of results, whatever performances, but they are the joint highest scorers in the league along with Man City and Chelsea. I think there's 17 goals scored in the league so far. For contrast, we have 9. That said, as I've already pointed out, we score for fun against Spurs. So let's shout it and go. This is a goal fest. I'm going to go up 3-2 Newcastle, 4-2 Newcastle. We're going to beat them in normal time. But there will be goals, and they will probably score a couple of them if we do actually rotate. Plus, we've got that, little risk of fatigue if we stick with the same back 4 and the full backs as well. So, goals galore.
There's a bad omen. It was on ITV Sport on YouTube this afternoon. Did anyone see it? That this was the start of our downfall as a football club. Chris Hughton in charge. Yeah. We lost to Spurs at home at a night game in the League Cup. I think it was 2-1 or
2-1. Yeah, 2-1 we lost. Yeah.
Stephen Taylor had another fake heart attack and fell over the ball or something, and it was it Jamie O'Hara?
Yeah, he was booked after 6 minutes and then ran the show.
Good God.
The TalkSport guy, he scored. I mean, honestly. Also, just another quick one. Has anyone noticed that Martin Dubravka is wearing his Carabao Cup final gloves playing for Burnley?
He's doing very well for Burnley.
It's pretty fun.
The save he made. The save he made
one
the
of the
other
best
day,
saves I've seen.
that was amazing. It was unbelievable. Credit
I notice it because he's racking up some serious FPL points on my bench every week because I'd never start because it's Burnley. But fair play to him. He's actually keeping them in games and helping them take along. And all those promoted teams, we don't talk about the Mackhams here, but those promoted teams are they're doing very well. And the likes of Wolves, West Ham, Forest, they're going to be worried.
Can we say we're worried about the 13th of December, or is this we just laugh it off?
No, not at all. It doesn't mean we're worried. No. I mean, let them have their moment in the sun. We'll just go about our business and then we'll rattle them and take a team photo on the pitch again, right?
Sounds good.
In front of that stand in the stadium. Alan, meetups for this Spurs game. Talk to me.
Meetups for the Spurs game are, I'm 99% sure, just in the Bleaker.
He has one job every week, Chris.
Yeah, I have one job every week. I've just been really busy in work this week. Now he's sticking to it.
He is right. He's got a super job now. He's his dad. You know what I mean? Let's get more jobs than most people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We only have the Bleaker this on Wednesday, which I may or may not be able to make, depending on work. But that's the only reason. Would never miss a meet for any other reason other than work. But anybody is around. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff.
It is indeed, yeah, correct.
It is an 8 o'clock kickoff, so we'll be in. The lads will be in from in and around 7 o'clock, and I will hopefully, depending on work, be in from around that time too.
I hopefully will also be there to sign autographs and see everybody. So Don't worry about it. You know.
Arsenal
giving weird
Arsenal
people-
fans, get yourselves down to the bleaker to watch Newcastle against Spurs.
He
because
torments
Newcastle are-
people on the street just handing pictures of himself with his number on it. It's terrifying.
People are like, what is this, dude? I'm like, you only asked you for a lighter. It's like, here, have this big marker and all.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
Well, whether you want Chrisio's autograph or not, get yourself down to the bleaker for Irish Mags meetup against Spurs, and then we'll be following up with weekend plans because there's also talks of various things happening for the West Ham game, including, is there a big event in Sligo?
Is there an away day?
There's an away day.
There is an away day. Yes.
So shout out to Chris and Paul and the lads in Sligo.
Yeah,
That'll be the place to be. But we'll be pushing that on our socials post the Spurs game.
Mm-hmm.
Right, lads, we've got 5 minutes for me to wreck your heads. Shall we do a little quiz? In true fashion of the quizzes we do of late, and because I only pulled this out of the bag about 2 minutes before we started recording, I have a list in front of me, lads. There are a grand total of 19 players who have played for both Newcastle and Tottenham. I want you to get 15 of these. And these are Premier League era as well, just to show.
Can I go first?
Christian, you may go first.
I was going to say Chris Waddle. Good. It is true, but it's not Premier League.
No.
Jermaine Genius.
Jermaine Genius is correct. I'm not going to give you all the stats, lads. We'll just rattle through the names.
Right.
But Jermaine Genius is correct. Alan.
Kieran Trippier.
Kieran Trippier, also correct. Actually has now played more games for Newcastle than he did for Spurs. So
He was only at Spurs for like 2 seasons. I always thought he was there for like 10.
He did well, though, in fairness. That got him a big move to Atletico. Over to you, Chrisio.
Sissoko.
Musa Sissoko is correct. 130 games for Newcastle, 200 for Spurs. That's also a surprise. Back to you, Alan.
Stephen Carr.
Stephen Carr, Ireland legend, is correct. 2-2, boys. Chrisio.
Stephen Carr. Okay. Jermaine Genius. Hang on. Rule Fox.
The man, the myth, the legend, Rule Fox is correct. Great shout. 3-2.
DeAndre Yedlin.
DeAndre Yedlin is correct. Man, that's the accent. That is a shout and a half because he only played 1 game for Spurs, which I didn't even know. So that's a serious shout. He also played for the Mackhams, didn't he?
I didn't know he only played 1 game for. He came through the ranks at Spurs, I thought, and he was there for years.
I have it down here that he's played 12 minutes for Spurs, and this comes from FBref, and they would never.
12 minutes?
I thought he was there for years.
I played 12 minutes for Spurs. Jesus.
Must have been an impressive 12 minutes for Alan.
It was an impressive 12 minutes, Paul. I'll have you know.
Clearly.
It was. Yeah.
3-3. Chrisio, back to you.
I hear that in my nightmares. Chrisio, back to you. I don't know. Let me think.
We've got his dreams and his nightmares on this podcast.
Oh, God. Was there any strikers, Paul? Les Ferdinand. Boom.
Sure there was. Les Ferdinand is correct. 4-3 to Chrisio. Ball goes back to Alan Williamson.
Hi, everybody.
Not to count.
David Ginola.
David Ginola is correct. Obviously moved from Newcastle to Spurs, didn't he? Back in the day. I was devastated. Chrisio.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Hang on. There has to be a defender. A central defender. Oh,
he's under ferocious pressure here.
I think
there is 2 centre halves. Oh, Sol Campbell.
Yeah.
Sol Campbell is correct. Great shout. Only played 7 times for Newcastle. And then another 250 more appearances.
7 times too many for Newcastle. He got fucking brutal.
Was he not going out with some woman that runs a really big property development company in Newcastle or something?
I don't know
where you get your facts, Chrisio.
No, but that's how he signed for Newcastle. She knew.
It's quite possible. You wouldn't rule Fox anything out.
Right.
Hey-o. Alan, back to you.
I'm going to go with one that I'm not actually sure about, but I'm 90% sure he did. Jonathan Woodgate.
Jonathan Woodgate did play for Spurs. Played 59 times for them between 2007 and 2010. Scores are level again, boys. Chris goes back to you.
Did Tim Krul ever play for Spurs?
Timothy Krul,
He
I can
didn't,
tell
did he?
you,
Fucking didn't.
did not ever play for Spurs. And the ball goes high and wide over the bar. Advantage Alan Williamson.
I think we actually signed him on loan from Spurs. Nabil Bentaleb.
Oh,
Nabil Bentaleb.
Nabil who?
Did play for Newcastle in the 2019 season, 15 appearances. Don't think he was signed from Tottenham, but he did play for Tottenham between 2013 and 15, 64 appearances.
I just want to pop a caveat here, okay? There was a period of time where Newcastle were dreadful, and I might have missed a game or two, okay? Al was flying over on the day of the match and going and with a notebook writing down the names of everybody there. And
He knew it would come in handy sometime.
Obviously, what else are we going to be doing with time?
Look, I am Barry Venison.
Who was it? Sorry, say again.
Did Barry Venison play for Spurs?
I don't have Barry Venison on my list. If he did, it might have been prior to the old 90, 92, 93 season, I'm afraid, because I don't have him on my list.
I think
Right.
I have another one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right, Alan, I will pronounce Alan the winner if he gets this one right, and then I'm going to start throwing you some clues to see how many of the rest you can get.
I think we sold him to Spurs when we got relegated, and I was very disappointed in him because he threw his toys out the pram and then stank the place out every other time he played football. Sebastian Bassong.
Sebastian Bassong is exactly correct. Moved from Newcastle to Spurs. Played 54 games for Spurs. Surprisingly, I don't remember him being that good, but as you said, he stank the place out. Right, I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on my list, one of whom I have never even heard of. So I'm going to start throwing them at you, lads. I have one who is a midfielder and an English midfielder.
Scott Parker.
Scott Parker is correct, Chris Show. Great shout. Next up, we have a wing back of a left-sided nature. Has been capped for England.
It's not Jason Cundy. It's no, it's not him. It's
Jason Cundy was a rogue shout.
Scored a screamer on his debut for Spurs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah, Danny Rose. He was brutal
Danny
for
Rose.
us. Yeah, he
13 games on loan at Newcastle in the 2019 season. Next up, I have a winger, primarily a right winger. I can tell you, lads, just for a side note, I was in the stack for the Benfica game, and I saw this player's name on the back of a kit, and I was like, wow, I'm impressed.
Would this have been a championship kit?
I didn't see the front of it. I only saw the back of it.
Wayne Routledge.
Wayne Routledge is correct. What a shout. Spurs, 5 games for Spurs between 2005 2007 and 34 for Newcastle 09-10, which I believe Alan was the first championship.
I know one. Andros Townsend.
Andros Townsend is on my list.
Yes.
Obviously joined Newcastle also on loan from Spurs, actually, I think, lads. So that was another one you missed out. And I've got 3 more, and I haven't heard of one of them, and I don't think you get another one. So I'm just going to ask you for this last one as a striker.
I have it.
He has
French
a
striker who
French
signed on loan from Metz, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember it well.
Louis Saha.
Louis Saha is correct. 10 games for Spurs, 11 games for Newcastle. Obviously went on to do bigger and better things at Fulham and sadly Manchester United. Lads, I'm not even going to ask you to guess the remaining 2 because I'd have to look up some clues. The other 2 names on my list, one I think you'll have heard of, which is Gary Brady. Don't know if you remember Gary Brady from back in the day. And there's another guy I never heard of from back in the 92-93 season, Kevin Scott. Scott. Man. Older listeners may be aware, but it slightly predates my consciousness as a Newcastle fan. So, in breaking news, the winner of this week's quiz is Mr. Alan Williamson. Nobody saw that coming, Christian.
It's tough at the top, lads. It's tough at the top.
The top 2. I mean, honestly, One of these days, Al.
You can have your vengeance, Chris Show. You're on quiz duty for next week. You can have your vengeance against the two of us.
Gotcha.
And on that bombshell, that brings episode 98 of the Irish Mags Show to a close. Thank you very much, Alan and Chris Show, for joining me. And listeners, if you got this far, thank you for listening or watching wherever you're tuning in. Check out theirishmags.com as usual for all the latest updates, photo galleries, meetup information, everything you'll need. And of course, all of our socials. Subscribe here. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And as mentioned at the start of the show, episode 100 coming next week with a very special guest. Ooh. We'll be back for more Irish Madness later in the week to talk about hammering Spurs and going on to hammer West Ham. So we'll see you all then. How are the lads? Slán go fóill.
Slán a bhaile.
Cheers. Cheers, guys. Good luck.